Hey everyone, my name is Josh and welcome back to your fourth stimulus package and news update. In today's video, we have a lot of news to get into, but first, if you would like to receive 2 free stocks from Webull valued up to $2,300, make sure to claim them by clicking my link, which you will find in the description box below. Okay, so when the Dow Jones made their estimate on the amount of jobs we would add for the month of September, they came up with 500,000. The amount we actually added ended up only being 194,000. Obviously, this was a massive disappointment. This followed the August jobs report, which also came out well short of predictions. And at this point, considering there are almost 11 million job openings and there's also a vaccine available, there's really no reason for the economy to be bouncing back this slowly. Here is Joe Biden's optimistic outlook on the jobs report, which otherwise looks pretty terrible.
Today's report comes one day after the Labor Department found in the third quarter of this year, the number of layoffs and job reductions was the lowest in this country since 1997. Overall, the unemployment report shows almost 200,000 jobs were created last month, over 300,000 in the private sector and 26,000 in manufacturing, offset by some seasonal adjustments in education hiring. The monthly totals bounce around, but if you take a look at the trend, it's solid. On average, 600,000 new jobs created every month since I took office. And in 3 months before I got there, that was 1/10 what was being created. It's 60 to 60,000 as opposed to 600,000 jobs a month. In total, the job creation in the first 8 months of my administration is nearly 5 million jobs. Jobs up, wages up, unemployment down. That's progress. And it's a tribute to the hard work and resilience of the American people who are battling through this pandemic, working to keep their businesses afloat. Remember, today's report is based on a survey that was taken during the week of September the 13th. Not today, September the 13th, when COVID cases were averaging more than 150,000 per day. Since then, we've seen the daily cases fall by more than 1/3, and they're continuing to trend down. We're continuing to make progress. Right now, things in Washington, as you all know, are awfully noisy. Turn on the news, and every conversation is a confrontation. Every disagreement is a crisis. But when you take a step back and look at what's happening, we're actually making real progress. Maybe it doesn't seem fast enough. I'd like to see it faster, and we're going to make it faster. But maybe it doesn't appear dramatic enough. But I, too, would like to, as I said, move it faster. We're making consistent, steady progress, though.
So Biden says we added 5 million jobs, unemployment is down, and wages are up. Also up at this time is the highest amount of inflation we've seen in several decades. Whether you're filling up at the pumps or getting groceries, I'm sure many of you guys are noticing the increased prices. According to numerous reports, the cost of living adjustment for next year for Social Security recipients is expected to be at least 6%, which would be the biggest increase in a long period of time. Although we won't know the official number until some point in late October, this is definitely expected to be the case. With that said, here is the White House Press Secretary, Jim Psaki, saying that Biden does, indeed, take inflation very seriously.
The president say to inflation is a big issue right now for Americans from coast to coast as we head into the holidays. What does the president say to Americans right now who are worried about those rising costs?
The president would say we take the commitment. He takes the commitment of lowering costs for the American people very seriously. We of course have seen, and from outside experts, including the Federal Reserve, OECD, and others, that their expectation is that these inflation rises will be transitory, that they will come back down next year, and that one of the best things we can do is pass his agenda. That's what outside economists, 15, 17 Nobel laureates have conveyed in order to reduce the risk of inflation over the long term. But he's also attacking this from everywhere he can. If you take, for example, the cost of meat in the grocery store, which we know is of concern to the American people, we believe that the lack of competition is a huge issue here. here, that the conglomeration of big companies in some industries is a huge factor. So he's also taken that on. But we would say to the American people that what we're trying to do is lower your costs, whether it's childcare, whether it's the cost of meat, or whether it's ensuring this is not an issue in years to come.
And for clarity, the time frame is still what the Fed said of next year. There isn't any better time frame the White House can give Americans about how long we kind of got to hunker down and get through this.
Americans should know that the Federal Reserve makes independent assessments. That's an important thing for history, and that continues to be their assessment.
Can I ask?
So Psaki says that inflation is only transitory, that prices will come down at some point next year, and the best thing that we can do is pass Biden's agenda. Psaki also makes comments on why she believes the unemployment numbers are still slow to bounce back.
Thanks, Jen. I want to ask you about the jobs numbers. One of the things that the jobs numbers showed is that there are more jobs available, a historic number of jobs available compared to how many people are actually seeking jobs.
Yeah.
Why do you think there are so many people who are still reluctant to re-enter the workforce?
There's a range of factors in our assessment. One is people are still fearful of COVID. And what it will be like in workplaces and ensuring their own safety. There are still challenges as it relates to child care, elder care, the costs of those, and being able to afford it, and also the availability, which is something we've seen a shortage of in many communities. And we'd also have seen that the pandemic, while it's been incredibly challenging on many, many levels, it's also prompted many people to rethink what their careers might look like and what careers they may pursue. So you're right, there are an enormous number of jobs that are still available out there in the workforce, and we believe those are the range of factors that are attributed to that.
Okay, so right now, President Biden has a couple of different agendas. First, pass the Build Back Better bill through reconciliation, and secondly, pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill. And currently, both bills are being held hostage by, depending on who you ask, either Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema or the Progressive Democrats. Progressive Democrats say they won't pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill until they first reach an agreement on reconciliation with the two moderate Democrats. And the two moderate Democrats, Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, say they won't go any higher than $1.5 to $2.2 trillion. $2.2 trillion happens to be over $1 trillion less than what progressive Democrats want to spend, who say $3.5 trillion is their floor. Here is once again the White House press secretary saying that the White House believes the two moderates are negotiating in good faith.
And then I was wondering if you could give us an update on the negotiations with Senators Manchin and Sinema. Democrats are expressing more and more public frustration with the two of them, arguing that they're not moving off of their positions. Are the two of them providing more concessions in private than they appear to be in public? And is the president getting frustrated?
Well, we don't have the luxury of being frustrated. This is a process. The president of all people recognizes that the process can take some time. There can be ups and downs in the process, and he feels that we're continuing to make progress, that both Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema are negotiating in good faith, that there is a recognition that not only do some people have to come down from their expectations of what might be in a package, but some others have to come up. That's what compromise is all about. So we're going to continue to pursue these discussions and negotiations. The president is confident we're going to get this done. Go ahead.
So she says that they are making progress, but it's hard saying whether Senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema will move their numbers up much higher, or whether progressive Democrats will be willing to move their bottom line numbers down. On one side, we have progressive Democrats such as Bernie Sanders saying that Joe Manchin is sabotaging the bill by saying that it's his way or the highway, and Manchin replying by saying that he doesn't want the U.S. to be an entitlement society. Then, as far as areas of differences with Kyrsten Sinema, according to the White House, it's still unclear what she would like to cut from the reconciliation bill.
I've spoken with Senator Sinema this week, and do you have a sense of what the areas of difference are?
Well, we'll let her. I wouldn't say we see it as areas of a difference with the president. The president's working to, obviously he supports absolutely everything in his package. It was his package. He proposed it. He gave a big speech about it. He also understands and has known from the beginning that compromise was inevitable people were going to have to give, including him. He's not going to get everything he wants out of a final package. So really what the stage we're in now is about determining what a smaller package looks like. We've been in that stage for a couple of days, as we expect it to be, and we will continue to be, I would expect. Our senior team has been in touch with Senator Sinema. We believe she continues to work with us, communicate, negotiate, discuss in good faith, and we'll work to continue to make progress.
So maybe if I rephrase it as areas of requested compromise.
Well,
You know,
I'll let
are there
I'll let
areas of
Senator
requested compromise you could discuss?
I will let Senator Sinema speak for herself on that and what her points of view are at this point in time.
Manchin, of course, wants to cut the income limits down for the child tax credit in universal pre-K, in addition to only giving tax credits to those who work, with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi saying her deadline to vote on the bipartisan infrastructure bill being October 31st, they'll have just a few more weeks to reach a deal on reconciliation in order to have a realistic chance at passing the bipartisan one. But on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Again, if you would like to receive a couple free stocks from Webull, make sure to quickly claim them by clicking my link, which you will find in the description box below. To receive the first stock, you will need to fully open an account. Then to receive the second free stock, which will be valued up to $2,000, you'll need to make a qualifying deposit of at least $5. And even if you aren't all that interested in investing or continue to invest at this point in time, you can always sell the free stocks that you receive and transfer that money, however much they're worth, right back to your bank account. So free stocks or free money is completely up to you. So once again, I hope everyone has a great and safe rest of their day, and I'll see you in the next video.